So I want to share a Native American legend that maybe you haven't heard before. So once upon a time, there was a violent fire in the forest. All the animals were fleeing. They couldn't breathe because of the smoke and the fire. Along the ones that were fleeing was a big jaguar, almost king of the forest. And then there was the tiny, tiny hummingbird. And as they're heading away from the fire, suddenly they saw the hummingbird reverse direction and head toward the fire. And then later on, the jaguar saw the hummingbird flying away from the fire as fast as they could fly. And then later on, the hummingbird flew towards the fire. And back and forth, this hummingbird went to the fire, away from the fire, to the fire, until the jaguar was really intrigued. What is going on? So finally, the jaguar asks, "What are you doing, hummingbird?" "Well, with my little tiny beak, I'm flying toward the lake. And I dip my beak into the water. And then I fly back as fast as I can to the fire. And I empty that water on the fire. And then I fly back as fast as I can to the lake. And I fill my beak with water. And then I fly as fast as I can to the fire to try and put out the fire."
Oh my God.
And the jaguar laughed hysterically. "Are you crazy, hummingbird? Are you out of your mind? You know you can't possibly, with your tiny beak, put out that fire." And the hummingbird said, "No, you're right, Mr. Jaguar. I realize I cannot put out that fire. But the forest has been my home. The forest has fed me. The forest has raised me up, and it's allowed me to have a great family and a good life. And I also pollinate the flowers in the forest. And by pollinating the flowers, I help the forest to grow. I know I can't put out the fire by myself, but I must do my part." And with that, the forest gods listened to the tiny hummingbird and was moved by what the hummingbird said. And the forest gods willed a torrential downpour, and that downpour eventually put out the fire. Native American grandmothers often tell this story to their grandchildren. And they say, "Grandchildren, do you want to someday attract a miracle? If you do, you must tend to your little corner of the universe. You must do your part. And if you do your part, I realize you're not responsible to solve all the problems of the world. But by doing your part, the world will produce its own miracles." Ladies and gentlemen, we are faced with a similar violent fire. Our little tiny blue marble, that's our Earth, is facing global warming. I myself have watched this. I know that sometimes it's difficult to breathe the air. I realize that water is becoming a precious commodity that we have to look for. And also, many times we cannot swim in the ocean because it's polluted. And many of these Native American legends are being lost, all in the name of progress. I myself have had a great life. This little blue ball has sheltered me. This little blue ball has given me food. And I give back to this little blue ball. I have educated tens of thousands of students. I am a part of the earth, and the earth is a part of me. And there are many, many people who do not believe in global warming. But I know that I must do my little part. And if I do my part, maybe I can attract a miracle. So I'm asking you now, will you join me, Mr. Toastmaster?